Yellow. Yes, this is how I'm starting this. Yellow. Yes, this is how I'm starting this. Oh, hello.
That scare you?
No, I actually got a heads up on this one because my headset's all wonky. So
Oh,
it's doing a feedback thing. And you came in and it was like, "Oh, hey, feedback." And then I heard your voice.
oh,
It was the least stealthy, non-stealthy way to not be scared. So, how do I get rid of this? Because it's actually really annoying. Ah, I think I did it. Did I do it? I don't know if you can hear me. You probably... Oh, I can hear you too. Awesome. Fixed it. Yeah. So, how you doing? Yeah, it actually went really well. Why does my mic keep switching over? Jesus. Stop. Okay. My headset keeps so I have pass-through audio so I can hear outside of my headphones when they're noise canceling. But when you pass through, I can hear everything outside. And I want to turn it all off because I actually have a dedicated mic that I can talk through. I don't need the built-in headset mic. Um, but it keeps defaulting to the other mic, and it's very annoying. Um, but anyways, yeah, no, the event went very well. Um, I don't know if you got to check out any of the pictures, but I did upload all those. Yeah. Um, aw, thanks. Yeah, it was like Lindsay and I walked around a lot during this one. We got a little bit of time to actually hang out, but I hung out with previously Preludo, made some connections there. Talked to a lot of board game manufacturers. Um, might be building some relationships over there. Met a guy who I'm pretty sure just ripped off level 99 art, but I don't know. I'm not gonna say who, but let's just say, huh? Huh? Oh no, I wish. That would be an upgrade. At least I wouldn't be like disappointed. I'd be like, at least you have some aesthetic taste that you know that you can't make your own art. You're still scumbag for stealing, but yeah, you at least like found aesthetics. I swear to God, I never want to see that man's house. Like, if anybody lets him have designer choice. Yeah, man mixes colored and black socks. He has like a bunch of he has a bunch of black socks and a bunch of colored socks. Oh, I that went over my head very much. I was still on aesthetics. Hello. Good. I am knee deep in the world of uh, Neopets. By the way, if you're already taken, this information isn't useful to you. But if you're looking for a person to hang out with, Neopets is where the girls are at. Like I didn't realize Neopets is like the only online game that actually has a majority girls playing it that isn't Sims. Like there's a lot of games where it's like 50-50 girls versus guys. There's not many games where it's majority women. Like I think it's like 60-30 is the like it's like 62-38% female male. It's almost 25. That next year is their big announcement for being 25. So my girlfriend, ironically, she ended up getting me into Neopets, because she was playing it. I was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And she was like, "I'm playing Neopets." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll make an account. I'll try it out." Um, Weirdly engaging, way better as an adult than as a kid. When I was playing this as a kid, did not make sense. As an adult, now that I actually know how to read, way better. I will say, Neopets is the most underrated online MMORPG ever. um, and all the girls know it. They're like, "Screw you." It's great. Um, well, it's interesting because I'm like, I asked my question, or I asked my question. I asked myself why, like, what makes Neopets so attractive to women over men, and what has kept women there versus any other game? Like, I literally cannot think of another game with such a high female to male ratio that is as large as Neopets. Um, like Roblox is 50-50. Obviously Minecraft is very heavily male based, but it's closer to the 50-50 range. Even like Valorant and Call of Duty, they're closer to that 50-50 range than a lot of people think. Um, yeah, it's just very interesting. I think there's a lot of saturated colors, so it's like really cute to look at. Also, the artwork's really adorable. But then I asked myself, I was like, what? Why are girls not playing like Pokemon games? Well, there isn't really a Pokemon experience quite like Neopets online. Like yeah, you can jump on your DS or jump on whatever your Switch and play some Pokemon games like that, but it really isn't the same as the online experience. And I feel like Neopets falls way more in line with simulation over actual like battling and capturing Pokemon. Like it's a less about the I have to do something and more about I have to do everything. I Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, that's just one of the interesting things about it is very sandboxy, and usually I think it actually falls even closer to another game that I would say is probably the closest comparison to Neopets, but this isn't multiplayer, is The Sims. Um I think Sims is heavily in favor of female players over male players, and it's mostly because of the simulation, the life things. And I think Neopets has a piece of that working for it. It's just very like it's one of the things I've been trying to look into being like an inclusive into the inclusivity of game design is what pushes women away from a game versus what pulls them in versus what garners most of their attention and what like doesn't, because as being a male it's very hard for me to be like, oh yeah, I know why women like thing. Big ape brain will say women like cute things. Okay, but it's not always cute things. Like obviously they like Valorant. Valorant's not very cute. um and I've heard from a few girls that Neopets is more attractive, and I not like attractive, but like it's more attractive than Pokemon. And it's just a really interesting like it's not even like the quality of art. It's like there's something else that's more attractive to them. Um, like I really have been just digging the stock market and the um, yes, I am such a lame human being. I play the stock market on Neopets, and I invest in the bank because I'm like gotta make money. It's so bad. But there's like outfits and stuff, and like there are things that you can collect, and there's just tons of content in this game. Like the amount of stuff that you can do in this is kind of mind blowing. I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's been around for 25 years, so. But they fixed the Flash games, so they have an emulator called Ruffle, and it actually plays half of them. I say like, actually, it's more like 80% of them are playable. There's still 20% that are like so janky you can't even like actually play them. But yeah, that's been my diversion for the past few weeks. Is not I say few weeks, like the past 5 days. Is playing Neopets, is really trying to understand what makes it tick. Oh, you got PS5? Oh, nice. Which games? Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, that's a really good one. Oh, okay. I see why you're whispering. Got it. Nice. No, that's really exciting. See, what you should have done is got them a Steam Deck. That's where it's at. That's hashtag not sponsored yet. You know what you can do on the Steam Deck? Every single game on the Switch in 60 FPS. Oh no, I'm not gonna trash anybody for getting a Switch over the Steam Deck. I just think they're wrong. But yeah. hmm the Switch is really nice because it's sort of like the Apple of computer gadgets. It Nintendo makes their devices like Apple. Like it just works. It does limit you, like you're locked in, but if you don't care about tinkering with it and you don't want to touch it, then the Switch is amazing. If you're like, I must have all the control and everything, like I do not want to be limited by mortal powers, and I'm okay with learning how to program an X button to exit out of my programs, go Steam Deck. Uh yeah, I Linux is great, but it's a pain in the ass. Steam Deck does give you a version of Linux that's actually very like adaptable. Like when you jump into the Linux version on the Steam Deck, it feels just like a rough version of Windows. Um, like very focused on gaming is really what it is. But because it's Linux, it can do everything. But also at the same time, you have to make it do everything. My constant argument. um, the default version of the Steam Deck though, like the one that you would open out of the box, just like the Switch. It like you don't even have to think about it. It's only if you want to like really dig deep. If you want to get the Switch games on the Steam Deck, that's when it's a pain in the ass. Yeah. But any of the base Steam games, so easy to play. I actually have been playing Neopets on the Steam Deck. That's gonna be my wombo combo for the next 3 weeks. Huh? Neopets? Neopets is a website with Flash games on it. Neopets is like the most sketchy, broken ass website that is being held together by sticks and tape. It's so jankily put together, and yet somehow it still manages to work. Mostly probably because it's 25 years old. Uh, but yeah, no, the all the interfaces are through like these essentially interactive GIFs. And yes, they are GIFs that you can click on. And they're just like flash like they're just like flash GIFs, and you just click on them, go to different parts. But it takes you to entirely different websites with different flash programs on them, I think. They somehow made it work, but it just blows my mind because it it's so sketchy, or not, it's not sketchy, I don't want to say that. It's like so like hobbled together. I love it. It's great, but it's just like this barely works. And I guarantee you, someone's like, "Oh yeah, we should go behind the scenes and rebuild Neopets from the ground up." And they look at the code and they're like, "No, I don't want to do that." Um, like I don't know how everything interacts with each other, and I don't know how they protect against like spammers, but they do, and there's a lot of really clever tricks they've done. But again, everything is so hacked together. Like even the world map is like it's a flash screen, and there's a bunch of buttons on the flash screen. So it's like playing a giant PowerPoint that updates, if that makes sense. Yeah. I think like if you're looking at a programming perspective, it is very close to PowerPoint, like an interactive PowerPoint. You know how you can set custom buttons to go to different pages on the PowerPoint? Yeah, I think it's like that's probably the most accurate way you could describe how this is programmed. And it's so bad, but it works, and it gets you around. Um there's like four different website interfaces as well, by the way. So like I go to this homepage, and I have like the nice lovely like blue banner at the very top. It looks very modern, looks very clean. Um but if I go to my inventory, actually the inventory is correct. Which one is it? My pets. Then I go to, trying to remember where they, I think it's my shop. Yeah. Because if I go to my shop where I sell stuff, it goes to a green banner. And this green banner is an entirely different website that's not using the same like theme. And they're like drop downs like this. This one's actually like the second, like this is the second like worst one. And then you go into like the game section, and the game section takes you to an entirely different website theme. If you go to this one, and then you go out of green, back into blue, back into green, and then you can play their flash games, which somehow manage to give you points. So I don't know how they do that, but like the points, huh? Yeah, like so when I play the mini games in Neopets, it gives me like real Neo points, like the cash, like uh yeah. And somehow they managed to make it so that like the points in game actually align with the points in your economy. Like they have like a really in-depth economy, and I don't understand how they make it work, but that's probably one of the most like, oh, did my headset go weird? Oh jeez. Okay, there we go. Sorry, Chrome just took over my audio and destroyed my ears. Don't know if I'm still connected. Let's see. Okay, I think I fixed it. But yeah, there's like 4 different interfaces that you can interact with. It's so hacked together. But you can like auction stuff, and there's like live auctions. There's still like 100,000 people playing, so it's like a really like it's actually a kind of a comfortable community because everybody who's playing is like actually cares, and they're not all like toxic people. But it's also kind of hard to be toxic in this game. Like you don't really talk to people unless like you go out of your way. Like I could talk to this person, but like, oh yeah, okay. So they actually don't yeah, so if I do Neo Mail, I can like basically it's all email. There's no like live chat system. So like if you're gonna send someone something, you could be like, ah, fuck you, blah 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 blah, and you're like, oh, my feelings are hurt, and then you just ban them and never hear from them again. But I find that really interesting how they like almost this old technology of email uh, is the way you communicate, and it works because it slows everybody down. I think people don't like, you could probably have toxic people in here, but you're not competing against anyone. Like the only time that you're really competing against people is if you're doing like jobs, which which basically tell you to buy stuff from the shop, or from the like the Grand Exchange shop of sorts, and you buy stuff, and it's genius because what they did is they made a mini game that you can get paid for by purchasing things on in the game. So like you basically purchase other people's items, and by purchasing a set amount of other people's items, you get a bonus reward of Neopoints to pay for those, and then they delete them. So the way they balance the economy is the more people playing the game and doing the shop wizard mini game, the less items there are in the game floating around, destroying the economy. And then they reward you with Neopoints, which then you go and buy bigger things, and then put those in your own shop, and then rinse and repeat. Someone with more money than you dumps that into you, and then it's actually a trickle down effect. It's the most I think oh, who said it? My girlfriend, she was saying, she was like, it's the most capitalistic game that does capitalism right. Like everybody wins, but if you're rich, you don't care about the poor people stuff. And if you're poor, you just sell your poor people things, and even the rich people will end up buying it, but they just don't care, so they'll buy it at a premium price. And all the money just comes trickling down like it should, instead of just getting stuck in like insurance companies and healthcare. Uh, Not a commentary on our government at all, sorry. But yeah, it's a really interesting thing, and I'm curious to see what they're gonna do for the 25th anniversary. It sounds like there's new ownership, so I think they might be re-releasing like a big update. If they can make this mobile friendly more than it already is, they might grow really quick again. I could see Neopets coming back. Okay, so I have raved enough about Neopets. Stu, you playing any new games? Which ones are those? Hmm, that's a fun game. I actually played at what's it called? PAX Unplugged. I played a game called Tapeworm. Um, yeah, I still hate this game. It shouldn't exist. Also, this really needs to stop doing this. This is so annoying. Stop smart switching. Oh, okay, that's why I did that. Because tabletop sim jumped in.
So we got nothing specific going on tonight?
I don't have anything too particularly specific. I was hoping James would jump on, because James had some updates to his project. Um, Mainly, Stu and I are just finishing up rules for Potion Commotion, and really once I want to get the rules for Potion Commotion, Mixer Elixir, and what's it called? Uh, Cookie Capers. I want to get those finished up, and then Pirate Booty. I really want to get a rule set like the rules are set, but I just want to do like a designed rule set. Um, Once we have that set up, I'm just waiting for funding to come through, and then I'll be able to get contracts for Pirate Booty for artists to actually attack it. But I do have a few artists that I was talking to at PAX Unplugged, and they're very interested. They like the pirate theme. I had a few other games I was talking to them about as well. So everything's moving a little bit slower than I like, but you know, can't do anything about that. I just don't want to rush anything. This game is underrated. 6.5, that's all you guys are giving it. This game's a 10 out of 10. I hate it. Hate porn. Oh, someone's probably talking and I can't hear because my stupid audio switches every single time a new app opens.
And so I don't really have anything at the moment prepared.
What were you saying, Alex?
Hi, I'm back. Okay. So every time I open a new app, my audio switches. That's fun. Um, so sorry if I didn't hear anything you were saying, like past 5 minutes.
Oh,
Do do we have anything that we can test?
Oh, I
Just in
mean,
any game.
let's see. I mean, if you guys want to do a round of Tiny Commanders, we can do that. We have, um, obviously we have Potion Commotion. We can do another. We can do a continuation of uh David's project. I don't know. Stu, you don't have anything for Empsicos.
No, I said I was going to. When I need to start working on those cards. Been
Mm-hmm.
in a hot second.
Well, I think Breakout Con's gonna be a really good milestone for us, or like maybe not a milestone as much as a goal. I'd really like to uh be able to take completed versions, like prototype versions, to Breakout Con as sort of like a uh first viewing, like in
yeah,
person viewing.
unveiling,
Hmm? Yeah,
an
yeah.
unveiling.
Yeah, I also want to get a printed version of like Pirate Booty, basically the whole kit and like all the games and be able to preview them and because Breakout Con's an interesting con. It's not necessarily a good sales con. It does do very well in sales actually, but it's not like it's not one that I go to make sales. I like to go to Breakout Con for testing and networking primarily. Um, so it's always nice to go there with sort of like my yearly like check-in con. I like Origins as well, but Origins is I don't know, it's getting very corporate to
Oh,
say the
really?
least. Yeah, Origins is sort of like it's they're starting to not care so much about the indie devs, even though the indie devs are the reason they exist. But they're trying to focus so hard on being like this big, like they're trying to be PAX Unplugged, but they don't have the backing that PAX Unplugged has, and they're just falling short. And but they think they're bigger because they're older than PAX
Right.
Unplugged. Um, but like PAX Unplugged is doing everything right. Like when I went there, it was so smooth. Like you go in, you do your stuff. There were obviously bumps and errors here and there, but I would say out of all the major board game events, PAX Unplugged is my favorite. Uh, Gen Con is still higher than Origins. Um, but like Gen Con and Origins are really low. I kind of hate both of those conventions. Um,
Okay.
oh, huh?
Well, it's all business, right? Like at least at Gen Con anyways. I don't know
I
what the
wish it was business. If it was business, I'd get things done.
oh,
I go there expecting business, and then it's just rules, and you can't do anything. So it's like, oh, you want to talk business? Well, you have to pay us $25 to have a business badge. If you want to um go from booth to booth and like all the developers there, they're either indie devs who are too exhausted because they're like trying to sell their heart and soul out at this convention because they spent all their money going to it, or they're like massive companies who don't actually have anybody of importance on the show floor and they're all somewhere else. So like doing business at these shows is such a pain. It's important to
mm,
go to. I'm still going to them, but man, it just sucks because I'm I don't know, PAX Unplugged is so much like smoother.
mm,
Um so it was like I went to an like I can actually spend time on the show floor talking to other developers and then growing that network and it just felt like the most successful and it's been like that for the past 3 years. Whereas like Origins has been really good for networking, don't try to sell at Origins. It is only networking convention. At least you can network there, but it does get a little small. Like it feels a little small compared to the other ones. Like I can probably do Origins in 2 days and get all the contacts I need. Um, Whereas like Gen Con is so freaking massive, it's like people just don't know who you are, and it's always just really sucks because you go around and you're like, "Hello, I can this is my game studio, blah 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 blah," and they're like, who are you again?" Like, damn it.
Well, I mean, yeah, it strikes me as a place that's like it's just for people who want to go and buy games.
Well, I mean, there's also people who sell games there too.
Yeah, well, there's that. Yeah, well, there's the opposite side of that. But I mean,
Yeah.
but that's it. Buying and selling games, essentially.
Yeah, well, the big thing about Gen Con and Origins specifically is that they are with the distributors, like the major distributors that go through Walmart, Target, and all the game shops. Like Alliance owns Origins, I think, with Gamma, and they are the reason you go to Origins. If you're trying to get your game distributed to like 100,000 copies minimum, because if you look at it, like Walmart, if Walmart is to pick up your game or Target's to pick up your game, they need a minimum of about 10,000 copies, one for each store, because there's about 10,000 Walmarts. I think there's about 5,000 Targets, I think. Um, I think that's a little bit larger than that, um, but even like if they were to order one box, like one copy of your game, their minimum order has to be at least 5,000 to or no, there's 100,000 Walmarts, 50,000 Targets. Sorry, so yeah, it would have to be a minimum order of 50,000, and they wouldn't just do that. They need to have inventory. They need a whole stock, so they'll probably buy a pallet or a crate per store and have those stocked at all times. So you're looking at a minimum order of like 500,000 copies,
Mhm.
and that's why you try to get noticed at these conventions. However, nobody cares about you if you don't have a booth, and you
Yeah.
aren't selling at least like 10 games. So if you're like, oh, I'm gonna get noticed by Walmart, no, you aren't. Um, for anybody smaller than someone who is running about 10 to 20 games in their booth, then you are only there to network with other indie devs, um, so that you can grow connections and build networking opportunities. One of the big things I'm doing at conventions is looking for like places to stay when I go to different events, talking to like salespeople so I can grow and grow my sales force and stuff. So when we do go to conventions officially, right now I usually just distribute my contact list to other game designers, which becomes very valuable for other game studios. Is uh, oh hey Alex, do you have anybody free to go to a convention? Yeah, here let me shoot an email out to like 30 people I know, and
Mhm.
usually I can find one or two. But yeah, so those are like the connections that you make at these different events, and Gen Con specifically is really big and hard to get to be remembered that way. um
Mhm.
it's not the it is super important, still go to it, but it's just, I don't know, if you're like an indie dev and you're trying to be a game designer, it's not necessarily the best place to be. I would say like Origins might even be better, uh PAX, and then there's other, like you can even go to anime conventions. Those are always really good if you're trying to start off as a game designer because there's less competition. um Bunch of different tricks. But yeah, Breakout Con I really like. Breakout Con is one of those examples as a small designer, developer, and creator. Definitely the place to be. It is a great place where you can bump elbows with some people who know shit. I have met a ton of people. Obviously, David, you have. So I'm very excited to bring Stu along this upcoming
Yeah.
one. if Stu can get his passport ready.
Yeah, there's some relatively big names that are regular attendees. They're Canadian, like Toronto-based or Toronto area-based game designers that are, sort of somewhat big names, like Daryl Andrews, right, who did Sagrada, who's
Mm-hmm.
a regular attendee there. Senfun Lim, uh, I'm not sure if you know who he is. Designed Belfort. Mind Management is one of the more recent games that him and his partner designed. Does the Maple Syrup podcast and is also on Ludology.
Mm-hmm.
There's Erica Bilieres, who did the Scott Pilgrim game and a whole bunch of other stuff. I think she works for Spin Master now. She's also on the Maple Syrup podcast. Um, uh, Eric Lang, who did
Mm-hmm.
uh, Rising Sun and what's the Viking one? Ragnarok? No, Blood Rage. Blood Rage.
Mm-hmm.
Those people are like regular, like they're passing you in the hall, all the time, like
Yeah.
sort of,
And I like
you
how
know,
small Breakout Con is because
yeah,
those people do pass you in the hall. They're not like hidden in the walls in the hall. like
yeah,
um so it's always really nice because you're able to actually connect with them and get a chance to play a game. The proto spiel there is always really great. I just love going over there and play testing new games.
yeah. That's pretty much all I do the whole time. I don't really. I'm not. I play enough games in my
Mm-hmm.
regular life that I'm not going to sit there in the game library in the gaming hall and play games from the game library. You know what I mean? That's not why I'm traveling to Toronto, right? To sit in the and take games out of the game library and sit at a table and play for 2 hours. Uh, if somebody invited me to play a game, I'd probably go or whatever. But the main reason I'm there is the playtesting area.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is such a hot place to be. I I really like being over there too because that's the people who are like making new games. You can see kind of what like ideas they're working with as well. I really like the camaraderie over there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very egalitarian, very, very sort of just let's play your game,
Mhm.
let's
Yeah.
do it, kind of a thing. So yeah, it was last year. I played Joe Slack. Played his game, the Mayan Curse or whatever, and then just recently, just a couple of weeks ago, he had a successful Kickstarter for it.
Oh, nice. Congratulations. Um
So
I actually played a cat game there with people.
oh,
I did a back-to-back demoing of the I played the Big Shuffle and one of the other guys, the guy who created that little cat mini game, he played his. Um, and yeah, the feedback was really it was really interesting because it was already greenlit to publish, but there's still a lot of notes that people were making about it. And I
yeah.
don't know if he entirely was prepared for notes on
No,
it.
okay.
I thought it
Well, I
was
don't know, man. You put your game in front of people, you got to be prepared for them to give you feedback,
well, yeah, that's why I was like
especially if
really
you're the
interested
designer.
in what his understanding of what was going on because he was like, "Oh yeah, I already published it." I'm like, "No, that just yeah, you got it like signed with a publisher, but it doesn't mean it's ready to sell." But I talked to the publisher and I it's the blue guys, the little robot one. Um and they just were not interested in having feedback about their game. And I was like I even like offered them some solutions and stuff to uh some things, but I think they were just like, well, it's whatever, we're just publishing this to publish it. And I'm like, I don't know if that's the smartest
That's
idea.
not a great attitude.
Yeah, I know, that's why I was like, oh, okay, that's an odd um attitude to have to as a publisher. Like, I mean, I get like not putting a lot of effort into something that you publish. You want to obviously put as minimal effort as you can to get the greatest amount of reward. But I
Yeah.
also have a quality assurance that I like to go through.
Well, yeah, you should be deving it, up to the last minute. You should be
Yeah.
tweaking and making sure that it's the best game it can possibly be. I mean, why wouldn't you do that? Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know.
But I'm really
It's
liking the artwork or whatever. Is this the final artwork? The character? The
oh for
character?
Potion Commotion?
Yeah.
Yeah, most of this is final artwork. This is the board.
I like these. I like these sort of anime style characters.
Yeah, I did the illustrations. They've been out for a while now. It's just I've actually put them in the game. I think Stu and I like last week did that. We just threw them in.
Cool. Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, they turned out really nice, and then Stu did an amazing job on the actual like item art. He did those.
I was gonna say Alex pretty much did, I would say, the vast majority of the artwork.
Don't discredit yourself. You did a great job on the.
I do what I want.
No, I think the items, the ingredients look really great. They're so juicy, and I actually found a solution to making these actually really affordable. I was talking to a manufacturer, and they can actually do die cuts of these out of like a card stock, a little bit heavier than card stock. It's like a cardboard, thicker than a playing card, but thinner than cardboard. I don't know how to describe it. It's
Would
like
people want
chipboard.
that though?
Yeah, you'd think you'd want something that's at least as thick as a tile, whatever that thickness is.
I was gonna say, me personally, I would much rather have pieces just be on tokens, because I feel like those would feel better to actually hold and wouldn't break as easily. I feel like something like that would be very easy to break.
Not
I would ra-
specifically.
I would sacrifice. I would rather sacrifice the the cutouts in favor of having a sturdier material, and just
Well,
have them on a circular like
it's
coin.
have you ever played like I want to think of a good descriptor, but like Pokemon. Do you know the like healing tokens from Pokemon that like just pop out of the sheet?
I do not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar with those. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that material. I was talking to a manufacturer who gave me some insight on how to make those. So the paper is actually really affordable, that like cardstock material, and the die press. I might actually be able to get an upgrade, like an attachment to one of my own printers, to be able to utilize the die press within one of my own printers. I don't know how well it'll work, but it if I go that route, it might be worth the investment, because it would be like it basically it would make everything really tight and small and super affordable to press out. I would not make the actual board pieces out of that material. That's a different those are getting their own like actual tile. Uh
You
yeah.
cut out.
Yeah,
Okay.
each of these pieces of the board are going to be cut out, like you can see here. Um because this is actually the same shape for all of these, so that it's really easy to manufacture this because of that. But we just basically slap to make it double-sided, slap the artwork on both sides, and then you just slot them into place.
Is it then? Are they going to be randomly placed then? No,
They
they're not.
can be.
That one has to be at the back at the starting spot.
Huh? The only one, yeah, you can. So the idea is to play it with it in a circle like this. However, it is still playable without it having to be like this. Like you can actually play it with like out of order. Like I could just stick a piece over here. Um, that play style is very variant and untested. So if you want to go for it, go for it. See how broken you can make the game. I'm not gonna sell it with that in mind, but like if you want to have fun and go like, woo, here, like this is what our board looks like now. Um, you can absolutely connect them like that. Um, it
I
still
was just thinking
technically
of
works.
rotating them within that same, keeping the same shape, but just rotating it a little. But that wouldn't work.
Hmm?
You'd have to rotate them all. Just so you won't have you'd have a little bit of a varying. I'm just wondering how much of a there variety of different map so you could have. It doesn't looks like it's pretty fixed.
If you have them in like you, these are reversible, so we could have two different map styles on both sides.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can also sell more of these tiles. Like we could make more of the triangles and just sell them as like DLC packs. A little bit later down the road, but that's if people even like the base version. I was talking to a really big marketing person at a booth. I don't know. Do I have their? Just threw my business cards over. Here they are. Who was it? Yeah, here we go. At Thames and Cosmos. They're not huge, but they're fairly like they're a pretty big company. But I actually have a connection with them to sell games that we successfully kickstarted. Basically, like if any of these games are successful, we basically get greenlit to pitch to them, and there's an extremely highly likely chance that they will end up purchasing the game from us.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, and I'm like, oh, that would be a great collaboration. That's exactly what I'm looking for, is to be able to like launch the game, get it known by people, and then basically ship it off to someone else like them who can then keep the game alive and actually sell it at future conventions and whatnot. Um, Not that I wouldn't keep a game alive. It just,
Well, I think you'd probably want to move on to the next project.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not really looking to stick around on one single project. I just need the first set of projects to be really, really good, because gotta get noticed somehow, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Potion
Yeah, this
Quotient
is
is
looking
coming.
good. I hadn't seen it in the state yet, so this is looking really good.
Yeah, we have these little player cards. I have to update that artwork. A little bit of
Bag and everything.
it's Stu's favorite character, the red dude.
That's pretty cool, dude.
Also, I noticed, and I didn't want to say it,
Oh,
but
yeah.
the ingredients in the bag are the old ones.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Also, you can see
Oh,
I lost the layer. The link wasn't linked right, so it's really pixelated.
right.
I rushed
Okay,
to
yeah.
get these out just for that one playtest we were doing. So I was like, the purpose is still served. Also, this is a little bit darker than I anticipated. Yeah, this game's coming along. Sorry that we're not doing too much playtesting. What I was saying. Oh yeah.
I was just saying, no worries.
What I was saying before you jumped on is I actually saw a game with some artwork that was I can't say it's stolen because I don't know. It might actually be licensed artwork, but the fact that they didn't credit either the original like webcomic that used that artwork or like that created it, or the game that actually licensed it from the game studio that actually properly licensed it. um Makes me wonder if they just stole that. It's highly likely, but I'm like, that's interesting. uh I'm like 99% sure you probably don't have access to that artwork because
Oh
I could
wow.
be entirely wrong. I might be. That's why I haven't made any like call outs or anything, but I'm just like, I don't know. You might be stepping on some toes if someone looks the wrong way. That's a pretty big studio to piss off, too.
Yeah. Like, why would you do that?
Like, I get it for prototyping, just, grab art. But even for prototyping, you just, and especially at this point, if you're gonna prototype, just use fucking AI art. Like,
Yeah.
the worst thing you can do is just delete it. It's like, oh, cool, okay, whatever. Nobody's super hurt. But like if you're prototyping, just steal art. Just like Google, whatever. Doesn't really matter. As long as you tell people it's a prototype, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am kind of curious who this individual is, though.
We don't know them. I know them. I don't 90% sure think that you guys don't know them. They're a fairly small indie creator, but they do have a live Kickstarter with that art.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was like, that's interesting. That's on a Kickstarter right now, live, for sale. It's a main character that they're using. I'm like, I don't know. Or
Well, they're using that as like an ad, like a pre, like a adverts kind of thing and stuff.
the thing is okay. So if you're going to use, like, say I use something from like, I don't want to say Disney, but like, say I licensed artwork from, or yeah, I did license art. I licensed art from Disney, and I have that available to me. Um, why would I not say Disney is a collaborator on this project? Like that alone is a huge like green light flag that I could use to market the fuck out of my game. Um, like it's the equivalent of saying Robin Williams is playing Genie in Aladdin in that whole debacle. But like it's you want a name drop, and the fact that they didn't name drop the original artist, the web comic that it came from, or the game studio that actually licensed the artwork, kind of makes me confused because I'm like, you have three big names that you could drop, and none of them are used in alignment of this artwork, making me very suspicious. Unless there's contractings that saying like, oh, don't use our name in your marketing, we don't want to be associated with you, which would also be a weird thing if you're, like licensing out your artwork. Like, why would you not want to be associated? That's free marketing for you as the creator of that product, or like the original art. like like if I use Disney would want me to say, hey, this is Disney's artwork, go check out Disney and this amazing movie. They, like, if I had Moana's art, they would be like, go watch Moana. It's a great movie. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the whole reason they licensed to me, is because it's a giant advertisement deal. um so the fact that they're not crediting anywhere, even if they are paid licensed artwork, they're still not name dropping or crediting, just makes it very suspicious. And I'm like, that's suspicious.
Mm.
But I actually know the artist who initially drew this as well, which just makes it even more interesting because I'm like, I did poke them about it just to see if they knew about this project. I haven't heard anything back, but the mystery is, it will get unveiled sooner than later. um, Either I will not hear from them back because they hate me and they're like, Alex, stop being stupid, or they're gonna go in a super deep dive. There's gonna be a giant lawsuit, and I'm gonna be the reason it started.
Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O.
Or they're just gonna do a cease and desist, and nothing's gonna happen, and they're just gonna take the artwork down. Or it is licensed, and I'm absolutely the asshole here who's like, You should pay for your artwork. But that's my drama.
Yeah.
Um, do you know? I don't think they've done a release on the Breakout Cons guest list yet.
Um, yes. Nope.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still pretty fresh. I've been in contact with a few of them, or a few of the guys there. Got all my paperwork filled out, turned in.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy my tickets there shortly. I have till January 16th to get the $10 off.
$10 Canadian or $10 US?
Canadian, I suspect.
It always throws me off because I'm like, they do the shop at like the developer shop where you basically you just give them your games and you can go and buy stuff from it. Um, but they always pay me out in Canadian, and I'm like, pay me out in Canadian. They pay me out in Canadian dollars, and I'm like, I don't know how to use these. So I have like $300 in Canadian that I don't know what to do with. So I always bring it to Breakout Con as my like currency.
Oh, I mean, that's if you're gonna be coming to Canada on a regular basis or whatever, then that's not a terrible way to do it. But you could also open a bank account. I know that some
Can
people, like, I
am I
know
able
some
to open a
people
bank
who are
account, a Canadian
Canadian
bank account?
that have American bank accounts, and so they basically just put money into that account, and then they have access to their money. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
Uh,
yeah, I mean, there's, like, money exchange places all over the place.
There
So,
are, but the thing is to get the amount that I want to exchange to US currency, it would cost me like 72 US dollars to do it from my bank at least. Because I went there, I
yeah.
was like, oh, cool, I have like 150 bucks in Canadian. And I went to my bank and I was like, oh, yeah, I'll get this converted. And they were like, yeah, that's going to cost you like 52 to $72 depending on your memberships and shit. And I was like, well, that's not worth it. That's like half the money.
Oh, yeah. One of those just kiosks would probably be money changing kiosks that they have somewhere. Would probably be cheaper than a bank because the bank is going to charge you all kinds of fees
Yeah.
because it's not the difference in exchange rate is not huge, right?
Hmm.
Like it's what's the what's the um, what's the current exchange rate for Canada is 1.36. So $1 is equal to $1 and 36 cents Canadian.
So 25 US dollars because I just for some reason everything has to be in 20s. $20 in US is 27 in Canadian, which
Right.
also throws me off. Whenever I go to Canada, I'm like, damn, I'm so poor here. Like everything's so expensive. And then I go around and I'm like, oh wait, no, this burger was like $5 US. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Like I'll get a whole meal and it's like the bill will rack up to like $30 Canadian, and then I'm like, oh, that was only like 20 bucks. That's not too bad.
Yeah, so what is it, 150 Canadian to US dollars? That's $110 US.
Mm-hmm.
110.56 for 150 Canadian. Yeah, it's not great. It's not a great exchange or whatever, but it's
Well,
definitely not
it's
gonna.
not even the
It didn't cost
exchange.
you $70.
Well, like, but the exchange, you lose the 40 in the exchange, just like out of that currency. But the bank itself also charges me like a base
Well, yeah,
of
well, that's what
forty
I was saying.
dollars.
Your bank is
Yeah,
like one of those kiosks, money changing kiosks that you see in the mall and stuff like that. Would probably just give you the straight exchange rate and not
yeah.
charge you like. I mean, obviously they're going to give you their exchange rate is not going to be they're gonna tack on a bit of money or whatever, but they're not gonna gouge you like the bank will.
Yeah. Well,
That's
I was
insane. The
thinking
service
maybe
fees
the
that the bank
airport.
is.
If I'm ever at the airport, I'll probably do the exchange there.
Yeah, yeah. The airport's probably a great place to do exchange rate. Yeah, do exchanges.
Yeah.
And I wonder if the hotel does.
Sometimes I think hotels do it.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna stay at the Sheraton this time with Stu so that we can actually be on site and not have to like leave at 10 o'clock and not get like murdered in the streets because can't Toronto's terrifying.
It's not it's Canada. It's not really that bad, especially that area around the hotel. Depends on where you're staying.
Well, okay, so the bus that I took or the train I took, they literally shut down the train after I got off it because someone got shot in the head a station down. And I was like,
Oh,
"Oh, okay. I was one station away from like possibly getting shot. Going to go to my con and just forget all about that."
wow, you must have been staying pretty far away.
Not really. It was like 3 blocks. Like
Well, you had to take a train.
well, yeah, I had to take the train, so it was like it was on the outskirts of the city, but it wasn't like
Yeah,
the
that's where
place.
all the crime is. Like right downtown is fairly safe.
Yeah, I mean, like where we were, like yeah, and that's why I'm like, yeah, I just want to stay at the hotel. I'm gonna pay the exorbitant amount of in parking just to not have to deal with parking and just be in a hotel room, like
Yeah,
on
yeah.
site basically.
Oh yeah, there's nothing better than being able to just kind of like like just at the end of the late night play session, and you just kind of stumble up to your room, and then you wake up and go have breakfast, and then you're there,
Yeah,
you're in the middle of it, like right away. Yeah, and in March too, it's kind of
it's
yucky
so
out. It can
cold.
be
Yeah,
quite yucky out, so it's nice to be able to stay indoors for the entire time almost.
yeah, yeah. No, I also the St. Patrick's Day parade or something St. Patrick's happens around then. I think it was St. Patrick's last year. Um,
It's a little,
I saw green people.
yeah, that's a, the St. Patrick's Day is like, yeah, March 15th. Yeah, the St. Patrick Day is like the 14th or something.
Yeah. So there was
Yeah,
definitely like
so,
a parade going on that weekend, and I was like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, it's
I'm
definitely
never
the St.
driving
Patrick's
into
Day
this.
parade for sure.
When I was in Philly this past weekend, we left the convention and we walked right into some parade. I forgot what it was, but it was like some solstice parade or something. Um, but it was like tons of people on the streets, and they had all of the streets shut down. Like there's so many people parking or like beeping because they couldn't drive. They were just all gridlocked. And I was like, did anybody think about how to like evacuate these people out? Because like I don't know. I just Philly, I really every major city, but Philly has some weird things about how they do their traffic.
Oh
Toronto's not
yeah.
much better, but I don't know. Philly is their traffic is rough.
And,
Um,
and I've been to Philly once. It might have been once. That was back in the 80s during the garbage strike. There was a garbage
oh,
pickup strike, garbage. So there was garbage everywhere. This where the football stadium is is like in the poorest part of town or whatever,
mm-hmm.
and so it was just all this poor people's garbage everywhere. It was pretty nasty, but I wasn't driving, so I can't remember what the traffic was like, but I just remember it being pretty cramped. That's the thing about these very old cities is that
Yeah,
the closer you are to the original city, the more cramped the streets are, right? Because it was just horse carriages and stuff when they were first built, and and they didn't have things like city planning and stuff
mm-hmm.
back then.
One of the big things I've learned that in like cities and stuff, well, like Philly specifically, Philly has this really annoying street or this road to get into the main city that is a 2-lane highway, or it's like I think it's like a 4-lane highway, and
Right.
there's no gutter. There's no like curb area. So like if you break down, there's no way to get off. You are now taking up a lane. It is the
Oh,
most congested and used street in Philly, and they don't have a gutter. I'm like, why? Who designed this? And it goes for like 3 miles. Like it's miles like this to get into the city, and there's like no on or off ramps. Like you are getting on in the far reaches of the suburbs. You travel on this road for like 3 miles where you have no way to get off, and there are like a few break offs and stuff, but it's not like a easy to like, oh, I got a fender bender, we're just gonna drive off onto the off ramp that's coming up. No, you're like driving for another 5-10 minutes before the next off ramp comes up, and
yeah.
that's if people will let you get off. Like, oh my god, it's so congested there, and I hate it. I will drive in Chicago any day where driving 80 miles per hour, I don't know what that is in kilometers, but like 120 in kilometers, um is like the starting speed limit in Chicago. I was passed by a cop when I was traveling 80 miles per hour because there was a cop behind me, and I thought he was going to pull me over because I was traveling 80, and he passed me, and he went like 90 to 100, and that was his cruising speed. I don't even know what people do there when they like actually are being chased by the cops.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, and it's like consistent. Every time I go to Chicago, I'm like, I'm not driving fast enough in this city where there's like really tight turns and there's just too many people. It is probably one of the fastest traffics, like Chicago specifically, because New
Oh,
York gets gridlocked. New York is old. Um,
yeah.
and
But it's
then
a grid. It is a big. It is an actual grid, so you can kind of
yeah,
make your way around it.
well, yeah, and the thing is like New York is logical in the way it's built because it's a grid, but there's no highways, so it's not like you're really getting it. There are highways obviously, but like there's, I don't know, I feel like I'm stuck in the streets in New York a lot more, but the highways I'm not so much as stuck.
Yeah,
Chicago, I am just
yeah.
being passed by everybody. City streets or highway, like there is no speed limits, do not matter in Chicago. um
Interesting.
Cleveland,
Yeah.
you get arrested if you go 5 miles over the speed limit. Like, and when I say arrested, like they're gonna like boot you to the ground and put you in handcuffs and throw you in jail for 2 days, and you're like, I just went 5 miles over the speed limit, guys. What the hell?
Oh well.
Texas doesn't care as long as you get out of the way of the big trucks. If a cop is behind you, pull over. If there's a big truck behind you, pull over. Just let everybody go in front of you. Don't try to race them. They will try to go faster. Chicago,
Mhm.
everybody's already moving fast, but like Texas, everybody will just run you over. California, nobody knows how to drive, and put any form of inclement like weather conditions, and everybody loses their ability to see. Um, I California's traffic is probably one of the worst. Specifically San Francisco and LA. LA is just
Yeah.
horrendous. Um, I mean, every big city has terrible traffic, but like I don't know why San Francisco specifically and LA, people just don't know how to do basic human things when they're in the car. Like I think they all went to Tesla, forgot how to drive, and just for some reason went back to their like sedans. And like everybody grows up learning how to drive on a Tesla, doesn't actually know how to drive, and then goes into their whatever car their like parents give them, and they're like, what's the gas pedal?
It's funny because that's in California. That seems to be that's the only way to get around is to drive. So everybody's driving everywhere all the time.
I think that's one of the big reasons why it's like that, is because everybody's driving. Like there isn't other options. Like even like Chicago has a really nice transportation system. Not the cleanest or the best, but it is one of the better public transportations. New York kills it. Like they do a fucking like, if you learn the New York subway system, you can get anywhere in New York. You're fine. Um Washington's also pretty solid. If you're in Washington D.C., you can get you can get a lot of places in Washington D.C. via
Well, it's got that nice sort of the beltway, right? That
yeah.
gets you, where you need to go.
Honestly, Washington D.C. is probably one of the more like controlled traffic places. Like I don't know, I've never had major issues in Washington D.C. I also have never had like it's not comfortable because it's a major city, but it's not like I'm also landlocked in 4,000 cars or people are going a bajillion miles around me. I think everybody's just terrified because the FBI's there, so they're like, don't speed. You may not come to work tomorrow.
That's right.
um
Okay, I think I'm signing off for tonight, guys.
okay, thanks for
Great
chatting.
chatting, and I'll try to make next week.
Yeah, me
And
too.
maybe I'll have something planned to play in
Okay.
case there's nothing else going on.
Yeah,
Just okay.
absolutely.
Yeah. Holy moly. They've changed the. Oh, there's the disconnect. Oh my God, they changed the disconnect icon
Oh.
right with the recent update of Discord, and I was
Mhm.
like, "Where's the disconnect icon?" And it's a freaking. And this is hilarious, right? That people still think that this is effective. It's like the save icon on most applications looks like a little diskette.
The floppy disk, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. But who the hell has seen or used a floppy disk in the past 30 years, or maybe 20 years or more, right? Like, but they still use that icon or whatever. The new disconnect icon is like a phone handset, like from an old
Yeah.
style cell phone. Like, just that picture alone does not tell me that's how I disconnect. First of all, and people aren't really, even modern corded phones don't look like that anymore. It's
Yeah.
like hilarious that they're still using these sort of old style images to try to convey meaning. It's mind blowing.
I very much appreciate the over in depth analysis or analyzing of Discord's terrible use of iconography. Like, no, I completely agree. I was it an exit? Like, was it like a little like exit door before?
I think it was maybe a speaker or something. I can't remember, to tell you the truth. I can't remember what it was. To tell you, it might have been another.
I have to now look
I
this
can't
up.
remember what it was, but it was more obvious than
Oh,
this. That's for
it's
sure.
a telephone with an
Oh,
X.
oh, yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So that, at least you're still using the phone handset, and it looks slightly more modern, yet more bendy than modern phones.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but with the X there and everything like that, that makes sense. But now there's no X or anything. The only way
I
you can
always
find
thought
out
this
if it's
little
connected
handset was
is
actually a mic on a headset. Like it's like one of those like boom mics that go on your headset.
oh, yes, 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 yes.
That's what
Okay.
I thought it was originally. Like
Oh, maybe.
you're disconnecting from the call, so you're no longer being on mic.
Okay. Yeah, that could very well be it. I don't know. It looks like more like a phone to me, but it is kind of bent and in a more microphone kind of way. But you wouldn't expect it to have that bulge at both ends if it was
True.
a mic thing.
No, I completely understand the phone. Like that's what like my brain goes to, but I was like, "Oh, this might actually just be like a little microphone." But then
Yeah,
I see
yeah,
another disconnect button um that's like upward, like
yeah,
it's a topsy, and that almost looks like a headset that's like
yeah,
being
yeah,
taken off.
yeah.
Honestly, they
Interesting.
should have like just a headset being taken off or something. I feel like that would
Yeah,
make more
yeah. I'm not
sense.
quite sure. I'm, because yeah, I'm not quite sure what would be a great disconnect symbol. It's an X or something maybe, but this
Yeah,
the
honestly, Justin X probably would be the best one.
yeah, but the phone handset, old style phone handset, does nothing in terms of giving you an idea of what this thing does. Anyways, enough of that. Good night, guys.
Okay, have a good night.